What is up, everybody? This is your boy Metahuman Macaluco, and with me today is AM Cap. Thank you, sir, for coming on to the channel.
Thanks for having me. By the way, no disrespect, it's actually CXP.
CXP, my apologies.
All good.
So, tell me, my friend, you have been rapping as far back as 2016 or 2017?
2016.
Okay. And did you start immediately after you graduated high school?
Actually, I would say I started before that. I wrote my first lyric when I was like 12 years old. I did my first show when I was 14. I did my first studio session at 14, and then my first show was at 16.
Got you. Okay, so you've been doing it for a while. This has always been your
Yeah, really.
passion.
Yep. I would say.
I was asking you, you've been doing this, it's part of your passion.
I would say out of everything that's brought a lot of value to my life, other than my kids, nothing's really brought more value to it than being able to express myself through music. So yeah, I would say it's most of my passion.
Okay, understandably so. Um, it's most of your passion. And most recently, when did you have your kids?
Um, I first had a son back in I was 21. That's 6 years ago now. So about 2019, I had my first child, and 3 years later, I had a daughter, and about a year ago, I had another daughter. So three of
Okay,
them.
so you're a busy dad. Gotcha.
You could say that again.
And when you had your son back 6 years ago, did that hinder your ability to pursue your artistic career and your dreams?
Yeah, honestly, it's not that I consider them a hindrance or anything, but if we're being literal, yeah. Back then, I was part of a label called Savant Visions, with a couple of my friends and this really brilliant guy, who went by Nova Moon. And scheduling conflicts and everything, once I had a kid and I wasn't as available as much, ultimately led to me not being able to be a part of it. Um, I found my way back into music through different ways, but I would say that definitely hindered me quite a bit.
Gotcha. And back when you were younger, you were already touring. How was that like being as an adolescent?
Honestly, life was a movie for a really long time, to be honest with you. Like, we were doing like big stages. We were like gaining 100-person crowds locally in cities where it hadn't been done before. Like, we were getting openings. We got an opening spot for a pretty big artist. I'm sure you've heard of Benny the Butcher. At
Oh,
one point, we
Lord.
opened for him at a show at Club 222. It was an after party, but he was still there. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
so, like that was the peak of what I accomplished in terms of fame, and it was definitely cool. Um, just once I got a little older and I started gaining a lot of responsibilities and children, that's when things started to slow down for me, and it was kind of by choice.
understandably so. Besides Benny, was there any other big names that you got to headline for or work along
Um,
with?
no, to be honest, I would say that was kind of the peak of it. I don't feel that I reached the potential that I had, but I also would not say I'm done yet.
Understandably so. And, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. You know, you still have a lot of potential. You still have a lot of growth to make, both as a person, as an artist. And I'm so glad that you have that mindset of there's still more to accomplish. Not a lot of people have that. You know, they do one thing and they live with that for the rest of their life, and it's just like, bro, you're still breathing. Like, add more to the list.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with it. I'm like, as long as I'm still breathing, there's a potential for me to come back to it.
Exactly. And during this time, was this before Benny started feuding with Freddie Gibbs when they had dropped Alfredo?
Yeah, that's a soft spot for me because I'm such a big fan of both of them that when I learned about that, I was torn. I
Heartbroken.
couldn't pick I couldn't pick a side.
I feel you 100% on that. That shit still irks me. I was hoping that they would squash their beef and maybe work on well, Alfredo 2 already dropped, but maybe Alfredo 3.
That song with Jid that Freddie's got on there is fucking hard, bro. I bump that like every day now.
Oh, absolutely. Can't go wrong with it either. Um, when you were growing up, what were those some of the biggest inspirations to you?
You mean musically?
Yes. But it
Um,
doesn't also have
well,
to be just musically as well.
that's a good question. Until I was like 9 or 10, I didn't really hear any rap music until my mom came around and started showing me like the real old school hip hop shit. Before that, it was like thrash metal and things like that. So like when I was real young, it was like Metallica and like Slayer, Pantera, System of a Down, Avenged Sevenfold.
Okay.
Um, and then my mom showed me like Tribe Called Quest, Eminem, Snoop Dogg and Dre. I just kind of I fell in love with it after that, and they both my parents are really encouraging because they have a history of music that kind of goes back even older than them in the family. So ever since 9, it was my biggest inspiration was probably Eminem first, just because you know probably for obvious reasons. I was like a white guy can really do this and succeed. Maybe I could do it.
Yeah.
And then Freddie inspired me a lot. Just the way he puts it together. Mac Miller is a huge inspiration for me. Um, Big fan of Rakim, Big L, and it was mainly like the '90s and early 2000s figures that put me on, and I picked up a lot more of them as I went on. The list is pretty big now.
So when you first started rapping at around 9, 10, were you going off on old school boom bap instrumentals and then you transitioned?
Yeah, I actually do have a very small story that describes exactly how that happened. So there's this great producer a town over from me by the name of Berserk, very talented man, and I went to his studio to record the first song that I officially would consider anything good, which was called Guidelines on SoundCloud back when SoundCloud was actually somewhere good to put your music, and I I went to like just keep bringing him boom bap after boom bap, and he was like, "But don't you feel like you can do more than that?" And he put me in with like this kind of like aggressive like trap kind of beat, and after that song went well, I started experimenting with everything I could get my hands on.
Okay. So was it like he kind of slowly transitioned you into a DJ Mustard almost type of beat?
Yeah, but if I had to be honest, my favorites are more like if I had to pick a beat to rap on any given time, it would be like something that the Alchemist had made, but made for like the way that he makes them for Freddie, where you
Yes.
can rap with a modern flow over a classics like twist with like '90s samples and classic jazz samples and shit. That's really where I get down, to be honest, is the old school samples with some new school energy.
Got you. Okay. That makes a lot of sense. Um, did you ever get a chance to see Freddie Gibbs' short movie on YouTube?
No, honestly, I'm just now hearing about it.
So him and his boy Alchemist, it's like a little 14-minute movie, and it's so silly, but it's so cool at the same time. Alchemist owns a restaurant, and he's talking to these Asian guys, and he's trying to tell the Asian guys how to make their own cuisine. And these Yakuza dudes come in, and they say, "Yo, we need to speak to your friend." And his friend being Freddie Gibbs, he's out in the mountains training on some Miyagi shit, and then they both come back to Tokyo and they whoop the Yakuza guys' ass. And it's like such the weirdest 14-minute movie I've ever seen. I'm like, this is like self-written fanfic that Freddie Gibbs himself made.
honestly, that sounds like exactly the kind of shit that I want to watch, to be honest. So I'm definitely going to be checking that out after this.
Is that something you see yourself doing within the next 10 to 20 years?
Oh, dude, if I could ever get my hands on that kind of financing and work ethic, to be honest, then absolutely, I would. I've always wanted to take it a little bit further than just a standard music video. I always wanted to be as outside of the box as I could. That's why I'm working the job that I'm working now. Figure if I get my foundation together financially and all that, and establish myself in a way that I can start to spend money on things I want more, then
Right.
I can put more funding and actually make a lot of the ideas I have reality so people can see how outside of the box I can be.
So are you balancing your 9 to 5 with that right now?
Um, I would say music has been on the back burner for like a couple of months now, just because I got a, I got a great opportunity work wise, and it's currently making me more money than I've probably ever made at any job. So I've just been putting some stock into that,
Okay.
building some money up, restoring savings, and
So you made a
I
portfolio
think,
for yourself.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, um, yeah. I want to make sure the ground I'm standing on is solid before I jump. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Um Dialing back to the touring, what would you say was your best venue that you've ever performed at, and what would you say was the worst venue you've ever performed at?
Well, there's definitely two answers for the first question because there's like the best show and the best place. I would say
Okay.
the best show I did. There's I don't know if you know what a VFW is. It's Veterans of Foreign Wars. It's like
I'm
war
only
veterans like gather there like a club.
don't hate me. I only know about the VFW because that used to be a plot point in some of the older King of the Hill episodes with his dad.
It's funny. It's like veterans of war, like like the older guys from the military. Like it's where they get together to like hang out and drink and stuff like that. But a lot of them also like allow their spaces to be rented as a function hall, and some of them have some really big rooms. So we, back when I was part of the Savant Visions label, we rented out that. It was like 400, and we ended up splitting it amongst the four of us like 100 apiece. And my dad, being a DJ, we got him to do the music, like the sound,
Okay.
and we drew in an exact count of 100 people off of just like word of mouth promotion. And like the crowd was really into it, like they were singing all the words and everything, and like the opening acts all delivered and they cheered for them, and it was just like exactly what you want a local show to be like at its peak. Like it was big.
Yes.
um the best venue I ever did, if we're talking notoriety, it would definitely be like the Middle East, because that was a big night. A lot of people came out to see me, and kind of like every inspiration I had locally had done one of their biggest shows on that stage. So it was cool for me to be able to stand where they stood and do what they did.
That's insane. And
For
the
sure,
venue
bro. Sometimes
itself
I
was
can't believe
called
it
the
either.
Middle East?
Yeah, the Middle East Restaurant and Nightclub.
Okay. Okay. And what was the worst experience that you've had in your career?
The worst. Well, to be honest, if we're talking small and big shows, I've been a part of like 200 to 300 events probably over the course of my entire career, if I had to count it. And if we're talking like worst experience I ever have, I'd hate to say that it's also the Middle East, because that night there were acts that were only supposed to do like 5 or 6 songs, and they just let them do like 15 songs. And like the night got long, and then it was like 12:30 when I was like 3 songs into like one of the best sets of my life. Crowd was going fucking crazy. Sound guy just fucking cuts off my microphone, and he's like, all right, everybody needs to leave, because the guys before me had ran their time. So I got kind of robbed of at least half of that.
That's flawed. That's really
So
fucked.
yeah, man. Well, music. They say it's cutthroat. Sometimes you have to see it, I guess.
Yeah, it's pretty brutal out here. Very brutal indeed. Um, Dialing back to your dad, you said he was a DJ. Um, has he always been a DJ?
He didn't start as a DJ. Actually, he's a jazz musician. He
Okay,
does like saxophone and like, flute and keyboard and guitar, and he sings. And
gotcha.
he's also a DJ because he can run his own show, and that's what he does for work. He does well, I would say.
Now, has he ever actually brought you behind the CDJs and showed you how to spin?
Um, Not really. I'm a really fast moving guy up here, and I guess I never really had the patience for it. So I never sat down to try and learn it because it just seemed like a lot of sitting in one place and focusing. And I don't know, at this point in my life, I would be willing to learn it, but he's busy as hell now. He does like 2 to 3 shows almost every day of the week. So
Gotcha.
I'd learn on my own terms if I were to learn.
So you really are like your dad. You know, your dad seems like he's a busy bee doing 2 or 3 shows a week. You're out here grinding. It definitely the apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
Yeah, I would say I probably get a lot of it from him. My mom's also very musically inclined as well. She's a dance teacher, and in her history she's been a singer, and she's pretty well known around Massachusetts, I would say, and her mom was well known around like the world even. So, and my dad's mom was a singer too, and she did some pretty incredible things. So it goes pretty far back on both sides.
Okay. You can never go wrong with a little lineage, family history. Um, did your mom ever give you personal vocal lessons while you were rapping?
No, I never have had any sort of vocal lesson, to be honest. I can hold a good melody, like a good tune, but like I'm waiting until I can pay to have like proper vocal lessons because there's some artists around here who I look up to that have already offered me a pretty good deal. So when the time comes,
Absolutely. Um, Sheesh. You know, man, you really impressed me. Your resume is super extensive. I've met a lot of rappers, that brag, but they don't have the drive that you ultimately have. And no one really takes the time to
appreciate
think
that.
about investing in stocks and establishing a portfolio like that. Because a lot of these guys, they really focus on debauchery before they focus on trying to like get themselves stable.
Yeah, man. Well, I ran into a good woman in my life who's made me realize that like I could do so much more with it if I really had my own personal money to put behind it instead of relying on people to give me opportunities. So I'm building myself like a financial basis where I'll be able to fund everything that I want to do and not have to worry about where my next paycheck is going to come from. So I figure if I do it now before I'm even in my 30s, then I'll be able to really pursue it while I'm still at an age that isn't looked down upon to be rapping on stage.
Yeah, absolutely. But I don't know if you notice. Do you do you notice that there's been a wave of newcomers fighting ageism within the hip hop community and allowing some of these older heads to finally share their voice?
I I'm often bothered by the fact, although I do like understand it, I'm often bothered by the lack of respect that gets shown to the people who created it, but also like TikTok and everything and the brighter side of the social media community has brought a lot of the people like we never really knew about to like have a public personality and we can like get to know them. So I despise the haters and I love the supporters because I don't know. I just think I think haters need to work on themselves, and supporters bring the best out in everybody, where we get to see more of the things that we love. So I despise any sort of ageism at all. I think you're never too old or too young. It doesn't matter where you come from. You should be able to have a voice and use a microphone.
Absolutely. So glad you share the same sentiments. Before I wrap things up, I just got two more questions for you. For any newcomers coming into music and into the music industry, what would be your advice to them? And my last question is, do you have any projects that we should know about that are currently being worked on?
Hmm. So that first question is a great one. I would say for people just starting to rap, it's really easy to get pulled into what social media will want more of from you, because they're going to want that viral hit, or that thing that makes them go, oh shit, or the thing that makes them laugh. And like, you're going to want to get paid because everybody deals with money trouble nowadays because the economy sucks. So you're going to want to gravitate to what's going to ultimately make you the most money. Just make what you love the most, and don't worry about what other people think, and you will find your target audience. They'll find you.
Gotcha. And
For uh, yeah, for the second question, um, I'm in somewhat of a limbo at the moment, but I actually have like a full length, almost like 15 song project finished with album cover and titles and a lot of the beats owned and everything. I'm just waiting for the right time to put it out. So pretty soon you'll see a flood on my social media. I'll put it out, but I'm keeping it pretty quiet for now because I plan to try to make a really big push with it.
gotcha. Well, I'm excited for what you got in store for us, my friend, and I do appreciate you for coming on to the channel. Is there any last words you'd like to say to the general audience before we go?
Well, first to you, I'd like to say thanks for having me, because since I've been focused on work, a lot of people aren't like talking to me about hip hop. So it was nice to sit down and have a good conversation and kind of remind myself where I came from. So I appreciate you for that. And for everybody else, this is a real cool dude. He's real supportive of everybody. You should support him. Tell your friends.
Thank you. I sincerely appreciate that. Do remind me, I want to send you that Freddie Gibbs link because I think you would really appreciate that. The
Well, I'm
movie.
always looking for something to watch on break at work. So definitely.
So like it's like 14 minutes. It's like, a little 15-minute smoke break. Sorry, boss. Watch this fucking movie real quick. Freddie Gibbs movie really quick.
Right.
Anyways, let
Right.
me
I'm
let you
definitely
go,
gonna.
my friend.
Oh, that's perfect.
I'm
All right,
sorry,
man.
I didn't hear you.
Yeah, seriously. No, I was gonna say definitely. My breaks are 15 minutes, and also, again, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Be safe and let me know about your projects, all right?
All right, man, for sure. It was nice talking to you. Have a good one.